Hello everyone and welcome to another custom figure showcase, and today I'll be showing you not just another regeneration custom but also a double pack, but I will come back to that in a moment because today we're going to just look at the custom for the minute. It is of course a regenerated, or young depending on which you want to call this, I call it regenerated, War Doctor, that is to say the War Doctor as he was seen in his young, newly regenerated form in Night of the Doctor. So the base figure is actually a Night of the Doctor 8th Doctor. It is not the version that came with the 13 Doctors box set, because I originally wanted to get the 13 Doctors box set version because he had the scuffed clothes, but I found it quite difficult to get hold of at a decent, cheaper price. So in the end I just thought, well, I'll just get a normal 8th Doctor, Night of the Doctor figure, because I'll get the bandolier with it as well then, because I didn't have one of those spare. And I just decided then just to weather it up, which I've done. So I've given the coat an overall weathering of acrylic paint, and then on the back as well I've also added some weathering onto the shoes. But on the back I've given him some slightly darker patches around his back and on his elbows, because obviously where he'd be lying in dirt when he was still the 8th Doctor. But other than that, like I said, I've just given him some overall a bit of dirtying up. And now let's come on to what everyone's going to be wondering about, the head. So this is actually a mix of 3 different head pieces, 2 of which you'll probably be able to guess. The base head, when I say head, I mean not including the hair. The base head is in fact a John Hurt War Doctor head. But then I have removed the mouth part. I haven't just trimmed off the mustache. I removed the entire mouth part, and then I substituted a Captain Jack Harkness mouthpiece in there. You can see the join a little bit if you look closely enough. It's not perfect because I had to fill it in with Milliput, but I think it still works. And then the hair, originally I planned to sculpt on, and I planned originally to sculpt on my own hair, hair piece for the War Doctor, because in the various different guises we've seen him, basically various different medias that show him as a younger version have different hairstyles. Some have them sort of very close cropped, others have them much more long and wavy, and then obviously later on in life he has much more sort of shorter spiky hair. However, the actual piece of little bit of trivia here for you. The actual shot of John Hurt that was used in Night of the Doctor for his younger appearance was from 1979's the BBC 1979 TV series of Crime and Punishment. And I'm going to put the actual picture up on screen. And this is the actual shot that the BBC used. They later revealed it in one of the Doctor Who magazines, I believe, or Doctor Who magazine special editions. Or the BBC did later reveal that this was in fact the actual shot itself, which was used for the young War Doctor. And so, looking at that shot, I tried to work out what would be the best hair to sculpt, or the best way to sculpt it. And actually, the more I looked at it, and it had a sort of slightly curled, slightly matted look, I realised that actually the 3rd Doctor's hair would be perfect for it. So that's what I've actually done, is I have completely cut away and scooped and sculpted out the 3rd Doctor's head, and then put the 3rd Doctor's hair on top of the War Doctor's head. And I think it works really well, because when you see the specific shot of John Hurt that was used, I really think that it does work well as a young hairpiece for the character. So that's the base figure. But obviously, as I said, a lot of my other, as I said earlier, a lot of my other box customs, in fact all my other boxed regeneration customs, I should say, are obviously in their boxes. And so I wanted to do something for this, but I couldn't decide whether I wanted to do it in a classic style box or a new series style one, because the thing with the War Doctor is, for me personally, he's between the two. He was introduced in the new series, but he feels like more of a classic to me. So I wanted to try and find something that would be a bit different to my other boxed customs. And so here is what I have come up with. So here we have the regenerated War Doctor plus Dalek 2-pack. Now the idea for this came about because, as I said, I didn't want to do something that was, well, I didn't want to do something that was classic, and I didn't necessarily want to do something that was new, but obviously it's very difficult to find a box that doesn't quite fit into either of these. And then I hit on the idea that I had when I did my regenerated Ninth Doctor. I thought, well, I've got to use either a new series, or I've got to either use a new series or a classic series box. And then I remembered they did these Dalek 2-packs back in 2013 in the run-up to the 50th anniversary. And for that reason I thought, well, in many ways that's a perfect box for it. Because it is something that's a little bit different, and I believe this was originally the 10th Doctor. I haven't bothered to change the back of it just purely because it's never going to be displayed from the back, it's only going to be displayed from the front. So yeah, I thought these boxes looked perfect because it means I could not only have the War Doctor, the young War Doctor in there, but then I could also find a suitable Dalek that would fit the sort of Time War era. And the Dalek in question, which I'm not going to take out the box and do a custom figure showcase on there, for reasons I will explain in a moment, is in fact my Temporal Weapons Dalek from Engines of War, obviously, which isn't from Night of the Doctor era, but given that it's during the Time War, and it's a War Doctor story, I thought it was the best Dalek to choose. But the reason I'm not going to show you that in the box is because I've already done 2 videos, in fact, so I'm going to put a link in the description to the custom figure showcase for this Dalek if you want to see it. Yeah, I thought it was a really good Dalek. I thought it worked really well. And obviously on the box as well, I've changed things such as we've got regenerated War Doctor with Dalek Engines of War. On the side, regenerated War Doctor and Dalek action figures with the famous shot of the young John Hurt. And then on this side, we've got, includes regenerated War Doctor and Dalek action figures with a mock-up of the young War Doctor, which I've included. There's a little bit of David Tennant's hair poking out there, but you can't really see that. Again, on the top, includes regenerated War Doctor, Dalek, and regenerated War Doctor with Dalek Engines of War. And then on the front down here, because obviously if we look at the back, you can see here in the corner they did these things where they had the picture of the Doctor, and then they had the large number next to the word Doctor and what year he appeared in. Obviously it was a bit difficult to do that for the War Doctor, seeing as he only ever appeared in one, well, let's say at most he appeared in one full episode. But for that reason I decided to go with a large W for War Doctor 2013, because obviously that is the year he appeared in, whichever episodes people would count it. But yeah, so it's come out so well, and it looks great alongside all my other ones, because I don't have any of these. I call these the Diamond Select. Well, I say I don't have any, actually. I've got a couple, but I don't have many of these Diamond Select boxes. I've got a few figures in sort of bubble packs, but none of these boxed ones. So it's really nice to have one of these now, because at first glance it just does look like one of the 2-packs, but then obviously you look at it and you realise, oh, that's not just a 2-pack. You know, that's not a normal 2-pack. So it has come out really well. I'm very pleased with it. It's a great figure to make. Certainly, I have to be perfectly honest, not the easiest to make because of what needs to be done with the head, but it definitely came out very well. I definitely think it looks the part, certainly. What I may do in future is take the head off the War Doctor here and cast it, because at the moment the problem I've got here is the Third Doctor's hairpiece. It doesn't take paint very well. Paint comes off it very easy. So what I'll probably try and do in future maybe is cast another version, and then possibly repaint it as well. And just for the sake of mentioning this, because I know at some point probably somebody's going to mention it, in terms of selling casts of the War Doctor, young War Doctor head, it's certainly an idea that's crossed my mind. However, I have no plans to do it, simply because it would involve potential copyright issues. So it isn't something that I plan to do, but I at least plan to do it for my own use at the very least. So I'm interested to see how that's gonna pan out. But that brings to a close another custom figure showcase and another regenerated custom. As always, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Like, favorite, subscribe, share, it really helps me out a lot. And be sure to check out the description below for a link to my Patreon. I'm doing my very first figure animation, and you can get involved. There's exclusive content and rewards for those who do so, and funding my Patreon in any way gets your name at the end of my videos. I salute you all, and I will see you with another video very soon.